Star Wars The Bad Batch Episode 10 presents us with something we've rarely seen in Star Wars. The CIS are the good guys. Right from the start, the Bad Batch are presented with a moral dilemma. Should they help the people that align themselves with the droids they spent the entire Clone Wars fighting? It's interesting seeing things from the opposite side for once, now that everyone has a common enemy, the Empire. And that's why this episode is titled Common Ground. That's the first detail. There we go. Here are 37 details and Easter eggs in Star Wars The Bad Batch Episode 10. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. So this episode, we start things off on the planet Raxus, or Raxus Secundus to be more accurate. The name Raxus is taken from the Star Wars Legends planet Raxus Prime, which we first saw in the LucasArts Clone Wars game from 2002. It's a junk planet, and in the game you got to ride around as Anakin and Obi-Wan on speeder bikes, looking at all the junk in the scrapyards. In a way, I guess it was almost like a crappier version of Braca. Raxus Prime then also appeared in The Force Unleashed, where as Starkiller you got to hunt down Kazdan Paratus, a Jedi in hiding following Order 66. Raxus Prime does still exist in Star Wars canon, although we're yet to actually see it make an appearance since Disney started running things. It's in the same system as Raxus Secundus though, it's called the Raxus system. What a name, what originality. Anyway, Raxus Secundus is the capital planet of the Confederacy of Independent Systems, otherwise known as the CIS, otherwise known as these guys. Formerly led by Count Dooku and also General Grievous, so yes, during the Clone Wars, the citizens here aligned themselves with Dooku and Grievous and the droids. They were the bad guys, everyone here, even if they just look like normal citizens, right? No dark cloaks and slow-talking creepy villains here, are there? But it's all just politics at the end of the day, isn't it? Beautiful world for a place that was backing the droid invasions and destruction across the galaxy. So with Raxus being the capital of the CIS, this place was also the home to lots of CIS senators, including Mina Bonteri of Onderon, who we first saw make an appearance in the Clone Wars Season 3 episode, Heroes on Both Sides, which is where we also saw this planet appear for the first time. So all is not well on Raxus, because the Empire has begun their occupation here, and the people of Raxus aren't happy about it. The Empire are here to crush what's remaining of the CIS loyalists and stamp their dictatorship on the galaxy, making sure everyone follows their order. They're introducing a curfew and will be signing everyone up with the chain code to the massive database of citizens we first saw introduced in episode 2. Anyway, this Imperial here, this is Captain Bragg, and is the first time we're seeing her, as far as I know. She hasn't appeared anywhere else in any other Star Wars. Anyway, she's forcing this senator to address the people and pledge their allegiance to the Empire. This is Senator Avi Singh, also a new character, and someone it seems the people of Raxus respect. Anyway, Avi wears a monocle. Sophisticated chap this guy is, and here's a couple of other Star Wars characters wearing monocles. There you go, look at him there. Anyway, I'm not sure if it's attached to his fancy hat or somehow floats in front of his eye. It's a fancy looking thing though, isn't it? And Avi has a trusty protocol droid named GS8, which I think is an RA7 protocol droid, which we first saw appear all the way back in A New Hope. We first saw one of these in the Sandcrawler on Tatooine, and then again in the Death Star, there was a black version. And these droids' designs are heavily based on some of the early Star Wars concept art created by Ralph McQuarrie, the guy who illustrated this, and this, and this. And here's the droid. This was an early concept for C-3PO and R2-D2. Pretty cool, right? So looking around the crowd on Raxus, there are quite a few familiar species from throughout the galaxy. I can spot a Rodian, a Twi'lek, a few Pantorans, here's a Bith, probably Figure Dan himself from the Cantina Band, also a Gotal, and a bunch of boring old humans. Anyway, Senator Avi decides he's not compromising his political views to bow to the Empire, so he gets arrested and the Empire bring in the AT-TEs. They're back from the Clone Wars. Little history on AT-TEs, they first appeared in Attack of the Clones on Geonosis, and then Rex, Wolf, and Gregor eventually use one as a home on Sealos. Alright, so the Bad Batch are back on Pantora after rescuing Omega from Cad Bane and Fennec Shand, and as far as I can tell, this seems to be soon after they've returned. They just got here. As they walk through the city streets, there's some Aurebesh we can translate. This signpost here says east and west, so no hidden messages here, unfortunately, just directional guidance. And here we can see a group of Pantorans standing around a fire bin warming their hands. Things are pretty tough on the streets of Pantora, it seems. Anyway, Wreckers hooked Omega up with another box of Mantell mix. This is their tradition following each mission, which we first saw in episode 7, when Hunter was like, wait, what? We owe Sid for 20 boxes of what? Great to see they're continuing this tradition and hopefully adding this to Sid's tab, so they have to pay for it. So the Bad Batch walk into Sid's and straight up, without even saying hello, she She's like, I've got a job for you guys. Seriously, where was the hello? Like, hey, we just almost died. You want to say hi? And the job is saving a CIS senator on Raxus, to which the Bad Batch have a real problem with. Hunter isn't cool with helping someone who the clones were literally born to fight against, but doesn't really have a choice with the debt they owe Sid for, all the Mantel mix they've been in. So Raxus is now occupied by the Empire, and Hunter decides it'd be best to leave Omega behind. She's not happy about this, but an order's an order, and she's a soldier now. After the Bad Batch leave, Sid tells Omega to get to work scrubbing down the counter. And this, I think, is a subtle reference to the Phantom Menace, back when Anakin was a slave and would need to stay behind in Watto's shop to clean. And Watto would be like, hey, you can't go home yet, you gotta clean. And he's like, oh damn, sucks being a slave. Alright, so the Bad Batch make their way to Raxus, and as they enter the planet's atmosphere, they're met with 2 Imperial V-Wings. They're requesting a clearance code, and if this isn't provided, well, I'm sure you can guess what'll happen. They'll be blasted out of the sky. Anyway, Echo is very skeptical of the client and whether or not the clearance codes will actually work, because they're a separatist, and the separatists were the ones that put Echo through the experiments and torture he went through and turned him into a cyborg while he was held prisoner. Throughout this entire episode, Echo is hostile towards the separatists, later questioning whether the Senator's droid is leading them into a trap, and really makes himself heard when saying he doesn't trust any separatists, and why would he? But anyway, this scene where the Bad Batch give a clearance code allowing them into the restricted airspace of Raxus is a reference to Return of the Jedi, with Han Solo and Chewie piloting Shuttle Tidarium and giving a clearance code to land safely on Endor. Back on Pantora at Sid's, the Ithorian and Weequay we've seen hanging out in the bar are back. Rex scared them off with a few blaster shots last time we were here, so they seem to really like this place because they've returned. And I've mentioned this in a couple of episodes already, but these are the same pairing we saw in Clone Wars Season 7, who helped the Martez sisters escape. Also, this week they're playing holochess, otherwise known as Dedrick, which we first saw in A New Hope aboard the Millennium Falcon, and this will become very relevant very soon. So the Bad Batch are infiltrating this building on Raxus to rescue the Senator, Echo being super sus of the Separatist droid, but all good, let's continue before he decides to do some droid maintenance using his screwdriver hand and maybe dislodge the droid's head. As the Bad Batch enter the building, Tech unlocks the doors. This Orobesh on the door says locked, and now it says unlocked. So again, no secret messages here, unfortunately. Now, something I find really interesting, throughout this entire mission, the Bad Batch have their blasters set to stun. They don't want to kill any of the Regs, their clone trooper brothers, because they know they're not in control of their actions with the inhibitor chip's programming. But what I don't understand is why have they made this decision now? In the past few episodes, there were a few times when they chose to use stun, but other times when they were like, nope, blasters blazing, let's go, let's fire whatever we want. And even Omega was getting in on the action on Bracca, shooting a few clones with her bow. So why are they choosing now to switch to stun only, especially when they're surrounded by even more of them? Also, Hunter completely forgets he told Omega to stay behind when he says this:
"You and Omega loop back around,"
which is really uncharacteristic for a squad leader. Seems like the father in him is getting the better of him, although technically he and Omega are brother and sister, so I guess he's like an older brother along with all the other clones. Thought it was really cool seeing the Bad Batch use stun grenades, a weapon we don't see used all too often in Star Wars. And back on Pantora, Sid realizes Omega has a knack for holochess when she predicts Omega will lose to the Ithorian and Weequay based on her Dedrick move. And this subplot involves Omega becoming an ace holochess player, beating literally everyone she plays against. So what I want to know, is this just Omega's clone DNA assisting her with being a master strategist, or is this another hint at her being force sensitive? On Raxus, Senator Arvi is being interrogated in what looks like a wine cellar. He may be a man of the people, but he's also filthy rich, it seems. And down here, Arvi gets introduced to a familiar droid. This is an ITO interrogation unit, and as far as I know, is the first chronological appearance this droid makes in the Star Wars timeline. These are manufactured by the Empire and aren't Republic or clone technology. This guy was first seen in A New Hope and was used to interrogate Princess Leia aboard the Death Star. Alright, so just before Arvi gets interrogated, the Bad Batch come in to save the day. They drop a smoke grenade, stun the Imperials, and as Captain Bragg falls to the ground, we very briefly see this device she drops. At first sight, I thought this was one of those microphone comms devices used on the Death Star in A New Hope, but then Tech says an alert has been triggered, so I think this device here is the alert, some type of distress beacon button thing she she pressed before, she fell to the ground, or was pressed as it fell to the ground. Anyway, we head outside and the Bad Batch straight up commandeer an AT-TE using zipline cables and stun grenades. And this is the kind of stuff I want to see more of that clearly distinguishes their abilities from regular clones. They are specialists after all. And then only a few minutes after being stunned, Captain Bragg and the clone troopers are back on their feet and fully awake. I thought being stunned rendered you out for at least a few hours, but no, after some research, it appears that a stun blast only lasts a few minutes, but could potentially have some side effects, including nausea, sickness, and in extreme cases, death. Obviously, it's shutting off your complete nervous system within a second, so yes, obviously something bad could happen with that. But no, Captain Bragg's fine. So while the others are fighting off waves of clones, Tech is responsible for getting the AT-TE repaired and back online. On his remote device, this Aurebesh we see super briefly says complete. And Avi instructs the Bad Batch to blow a hole in this wall, which leads to a secret passage. Wrecker takes a pyrodentin explosive and uses it to blow a hole in the wall. And these are the same explosives referenced in episode 4, the ones they've run out of at that point, and the one Hunter throws at Fennec during the speeder bike chase. So they escape, and just before boarding the Bad Batch's ship, Avi stops and turns around and feels like he's running away and can't leave his people behind. He has a duty to his people. Hello, you're not in control anymore, dude. The Empire has occupied your planet and you just publicly spoke out against their rule. Dude, you're lucky you're not dead. What are you doing? So Echo reminds him to live to fight another day, and then they leave after that. Back on Pantora, there are different people standing around the same fire bins. Did they steal the fire bins? Did the other people move on? Did they relocate? Or did something nasty happen here? Different people in the fire bins. Heading towards Sid's, this person gets off a bark speeder, same ones the clone used during the Clone Wars. Different paint job, it looks like. And yep, Omega is owning everyone in holochess and has paid off the Bad Batch's debt to Sid, so I guess they don't owe her for all the Mantel mix anymore. Once again proving she's literally the smartest, most valuable member of the Bad Batch. So with this debt paid off, will the Bad Batch still decide to work for Sid in order to get paid? What's their purpose at the moment apart from just protecting Omega? They're kind of just, specialist mercenaries wandering the galaxy right now, doing odd jobs randomly, and it doesn't really feel like they have a clearly defined goal. So hopefully they get a bit more direction in the coming episodes with more of the plot that unfolds. I guess their main objective is to get rid of the Empire and turn the clones back, but they're not really making too much progress on that, are they? And then Hunter challenges Omega to a game of holochess with the condition that if she wins, she'll get to come on every mission. And then the episode ends. So we don't see the results of this match, and hopefully we'll actually find out who won. And the Bad Batch will find some purpose apart from just protecting the kid and working for a giant green reptilian. So are there any details you noticed that I missed? Let me know in the comments. And for more on the Bad Batch and Star Wars, you can watch one of these videos here and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and join my Discord for lots more Star Wars gaming, news, updates, and come send me your stuff, anything you want. And thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.